Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Gilda Evans, bringing you the Autism Resource Podcast. This podcast and the ARP website are your one-stop knowledge and resource base for autism and much more. I'm very happy to have Cian O'Clery join me as my guest today. Cian is an award-winning director, showrunner, and executive producer. He is the co-creator, showrunner, and director of the Emmy-winning Love on the Spectrum series and has just finished filming a third U.S. season. In addition to creating and directing other series and documentaries, Cian was the series director of the critically acclaimed and award-winning Employable Me, a series featuring people with disabilities looking for employment, and Changing Minds, the Inside Story, an observational documentary filmed inside a mental health unit. He is attracted to projects that have something to say, while not forgetting it is the audience they are made for. Welcome, Cian, and thank you so much for taking time to join me and discuss the work you do today.
No, thanks for having me. It's great to be here talking to you.
So, to begin with, tell me, how did the idea for Love on the Spectrum come about?
I was working on a series in Australia for the public broadcaster that was about people with disabilities looking for employment. And during the course of making that series, as you well know, autism makes up quite a large population within the disability community. And so throughout that process, we met hundreds and hundreds of young adults on the autism spectrum and talked to them about what they were looking for, what their hopes and dreams were in life. Obviously, we talked a lot about their hopes and dreams for work and employment. But what kept coming up a lot was that people were really telling us, hey, look, I really want to find love. And we heard, and it just seemed a lot of people actually wanted that more than they wanted a job. And there's a lot of resources in Australia for helping people find employment. There's a lot of disability employment groups that help people out, but there wasn't really any support in terms of that relationship building, even I guess social skills and things like that that lead into it. This was back in 2013, I think, that we first came up with the idea for Love on the Spectrum. So it just felt a really interesting area to explore. Was young adults, not necessarily all young adults, a lot of people. We had Steve in the US series, so just people on the spectrum looking for love and being able to help provide a bit of support for the people that wanted that. And I guess that's just how it came about, based on the kind of people I'd met through the other series and what they were telling us about what they really wanted. We pitched the idea to the public broadcaster as well here in Australia, the ABC, Australian Broadcasting Corporation. And eventually they picked it up. Took a long time because it is hard to get original ideas off the ground, especially something that's a bit unique and hadn't been done before. And we were lucky enough that they went with it. And the Australian series did quite well. And then here we are now with just finished filming the third US series, and things have been going really well. People all around the world are watching it and loving it. So it's been quite a journey for us and for all the people that have told their stories that have been on screen as well. That's been a big journey for a lot of them. So it's been great.
I can well imagine. 2013, wow. As they say, the old saying, right? The overnight success that was 10 years in the making, right? That's a
That's
good
exactly.
example of that. So then talk to me a little bit about the filming methodology for the show. How does that work?
So I guess when you compare, as a series, we often get placed in, people don't really know how to talk about the series, whether it's a reality show, whether it's a documentary series. I feel like it's a bit in the middle. It's a docu-reality. The only setup really is that we are helping people to find a match. So once we do that, we just follow the story. So we do film it like it's a documentary series. So we have a really small crew. We keep it down to just a real minimum. We don't light things. We don't set up lights in people's houses or on dates. So we want people to feel like we're not there as much as possible. We want our footprint to be as small as we can. And I think that really helps to get the reality of a situation. So that's really important to us. And also just the way we cast and the way we work with people. It's very much a collaborative sort of process. We work around our cast and their schedules. We don't tell them, hey, we need you for 3 weeks at this point. We come in and out of their lives, which involves a lot of traveling. across the country because we do film people all over the US. But we just hope that filming the series has a minimal impact in terms of their lives, but making it as easy a process for them and in collaboration with them, as well as having a really small crew. The people who do the casting as well is me and my team of producers. So we're consistent throughout. So the first person somebody speaks to will probably end up being their producer on set, will end up being their person throughout the whole process, which is quite rare within TV. Often you'll speak to all sorts of different people and you'll get passed on through different areas, but we keep that consistent as well. So we tend to have really close relationships with the cast. I've just got a message this morning from one of our cast sending pictures of them with their new partner that they met on the show. So it's nice. It feels, in our minds, we hope that it feels a bit like a family being a part of the series, and we want our cast to be happy with the show as well as the audience, as well as their families, as well as friends.
Talk to me about the casting process. How do people join the Love on the Spectrum family?
We just put out the word as far and wide as we can, and that involves anything from autism organizations helping us by posting our flyer with our details of how to get in touch, to posting things on social media, to calling people directly who might know someone. There's so many different ways, but it's basically the simple answer is we just want as many people to know that we're casting and looking for people, to give as many people the opportunity to write into us. And then people will email, and then we'll reach out and touch base with people and go from there.
So, what do you hope the audience takes away with them after they watch the show?
A lot of things. Hopefully, they will really engage with the stories of the people whose stories we're telling. But I suppose the bigger picture thing is just a bit more understanding of how diverse autism is, what it can mean, and just understanding that a label doesn't define somebody, and you can't make any assumptions about someone just based on the fact that they might be on the spectrum. We try our best to cast as diverse a group of people as we possibly can, obviously within the range of people who want to date and want to get in touch with us and be a part of the show. I think that's the biggest thing, really, because we have such a great opportunity with the show to introduce audiences to real people on the spectrum living their lives, telling their own stories. There's no other show that has this much diversity of autistic representation, which is a big responsibility that we take really seriously. But at the same time, we also take comfort in the fact that it's the people themselves who are telling their stories. We like to feel like their voices are being heard.
So, I have a little bit of a personal question now, if
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. I would love to know, so far, what has been your most rewarding moment on the show, and what has been your most challenging moment on the show?
That's a good question. I think the most rewarding thing is seeing people finding love, really. Seeing the couples that have formed on the show that are still together. Abby and David are going really strong. Ronan and Katie from Australia are going really strong. But not just that, I guess it's even just seeing people step out of their comfort zone sometimes, and seeing that as a really positive step to breaking that fear of stepping into that world that they might have been afraid to step into. Because I think that's a big thing. If you're getting to an age where you're in your 20s and you've never been on a date, the idea of it can just seem really big. And I think through the show, people are breaking that basically with us as their kind of support system. And it sounds counterintuitive that having cameras film you on your first date is actually supportive and a positive thing, but people have told us that it has been. They're not left out on their own on this big, scary experience that's the first time they've taken part in it. So that's really rewarding too. And just seeing people find friendship groups as well. Connor from the US series, when we first filmed with him, his mum was really feeling for him that he didn't have friends and he didn't really have a social group. But now people all over the world think he's fantastic, and he's found a lot of friendship through that experience, and lots of other people as well. James is still really good friends with the two girls that he ended up dating on the show. They're not dating now, but they're good friends. And I think that's really rewarding too. Just seeing people able to find connections, and the fact that we've been able to help that to happen, and hopefully then inspire other people who are watching the show who might feel inspired by watching their stories. And I get a lot of messages of people saying that's what's happened from individuals themselves, family members, just saying watching the show and seeing people step out of their comfort zones and find love has motivated them to do the same. So that's really nice. That I think that's probably the most rewarding thing.
So what about the challenging part? The most
The
challenging?
It's not super challenging, to be honest. The most challenging thing with any show like this, I guess, is just we have to make sure that what you have that an audience is going to want to watch and that they're going to stick with it. So I guess maybe it's probably a challenge to make a show that people want to watch that keeps an audience with you, but that is also really respectful and tells the stories in a way that people on screen are happy with. So it actually is quite challenging to, for example, have a show about dating where there isn't any conflict really. There aren't fights, there aren't villains. That can be a challenge, but in a sense, it's also what's really good about the show and what we really like about making it. It just means that we have to cast amazing people who are really engaging and have this kind of presence that people want to follow and hear their stories. So that's challenging. But in terms of like the people say, oh, people sometimes say, what's it like filming with vulnerable people? And I don't like that question because I don't think someone's vulnerable because they're autistic. I just think that's a really narrow way of looking at things. Yes, some people have certain sensitivities, and some people you need to have a plan in terms of the best way to work with certain people, but everyone's different. And that's the whole point of the show is showing that everyone's different. So to be honest, in terms of dealing with our cast, they've all been great. James can be difficult sometimes. James can be a pain to deal with, but he knows that and he accepts it.
So you're not talking out of school. He's perfectly well aware.
He knows he can be difficult, but James he's just so unapologetically himself, and that's what we love about him.
So then you just finished filming season 3. Any plans for season 4? Are you going to bring on any new cast members?
We don't know if there's going to be another season at this point. We are starting to look for people. We are open to hearing from people who are interested. We're not necessarily going ahead, but we are open to hearing from people. If anyone is interested, we do have an email address. Can I read it out to anyone who might be interested in getting in touch? Basically, anyone who might be interested in putting themselves up or somebody they know, they could just email production, PRODUCTION, production at northernpictures.com.au, which is northern, NORTHERN, pictures, PICTURES.com.au. And yeah, we get back to everybody who writes in. Best to send name, a photo, and a little bit about the person. It's such an enjoyable process casting the show and working with people. And I guess when you asked before about challenges, one of the challenges actually is that we only have a few spots that we can fill in the series, and so many people really want to be a part of it, and that's really hard to only be able to give the opportunity to a small group of people. But that's just the nature of what we're doing. So that is tough, but hopefully the awareness that the show is creating is helping people in other ways. There's groups being set up all around the world to do with kind of social events and dating events specifically based on people having seen the show. So that's hopefully a positive thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, after listening to what you were just saying now, that one would hope that the show would inspire people all over the world to focus on this particular aspect of the neurodivergent community and make these kinds of opportunities available, offer this kind of support, give people who want the opportunity the access to that opportunity and the ability to learn and to grow and to meet other people and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard sometimes forming social connections for anybody, and having those groups and having those kind of events just is really helpful. See, season 2 US when Connor went to the speed dating event in Atlanta. That event was partly inspired by the show Love on the Spectrum. It's a weird, like that event, that event wasn't created for the show, or that it just happened to be something that was happening, but they were inspired by the show to make it happen. And then the show ended up sending someone to it. It was a nice kind of circular moment there.
It's a really nice synergy that happened there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
So you've done several shows that focus on neurodivergence, disability, and mental health. What attracts you to this subject matter in general?
Um, I think, I guess just for me, I always felt a little bit different kind of growing up. I oftentimes felt like I was sometimes a bit of an outsider. And so I guess I'm just attracted to the stories of people who aren't necessarily the center mainstream. I think I've just been attracted to stories of people that are a little bit unique. I guess that's a simple answer.
Okay. And then can you share a bit with me about some ideas that you might have in the hopper or shows that might be coming up?
Oh, I can't really know.
Yeah.
But all I can say is that, yeah, hopefully we'll continue to make more Love on the Spectrum because there are a hell of a lot of people out there that are wonderful and whose stories are just waiting to be told. There's other ideas cooking up, but you can't really talk about them, can you? Because you never know if they'll actually happen.
Then can I convince you to come back and talk about them once they do happen?
Sure, let's talk again down the road, but could be another 10 years, Gilda. You never know.
So then tell me, what do you hope that our listeners take away from our conversation?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one. Why don't you answer that one, Gilda? Can I throw that back on you?
For me, I can tell you that I'm taking away the fact that it's just wonderful to have people out there like you in the world who is focusing on this community, who supports this community, who loves this community, and who wants to do whatever they can to support it and to
Mm,
remove the myths and the misnomers and
mm,
take the veil away and show people the reality, if you will,
mm.
of neurodivergency and how wonderful it is and how beautiful it is and how diverse it is. That's what I glean from you and from this wonderful work that you're doing.
I think that's perfectly well.
So do you have anything you'd like to throw out before we draw this wonderful conversation to a close?
I guess just to say that what you're doing is really great as well. And I think something that navigating, I think, all of the different ways that you can try and find support it can be really hard. And I know in Australia, it's not quite as hard. We have things a little bit more concentrated in terms of this is where you go if you need support. But I think having spent a lot of time in the US and seeing there's so many orgs, there's so many places to go. And I think it's just good to be able to really have one place where you can go and find what you need and find those resources because it can be really difficult. There's just so many things you have to learn and try and find out. So I think what you're doing is great as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those kind words, Cian. And also thank you for your time and for sharing your story with us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me. It's nice to chat.
And I hope you'll come back and chat with us again.
Sounds good.
If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast. You can find it on Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify, and other popular platforms. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you would like more information on this topic or anything else we've covered on the Autism Resource Podcast, visit us online at www.autismresourceproject.org/podcast. If you have a topic you'd like us to cover in the future, contact us through the website or comment on any of our social media channels. And be sure to check out our growing website often, since we are continually adding useful information and resources. I want to thank our listeners for spending part of their day with us. This is the Autism Resource Podcast, and I'm Gilda Evans, reminding you to take care of yourself and that special person in your life.